under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting of the Park Board of the City of Connersville, Indiana is now in session. Please turn your cell phone ringers off. Roll call, please.
Jen Barrett,
Here.
Jeff Cooley,
Here.
Sharon McQueen,
Here.
Scott Kiefaber,
Here.
Vane Lashua, and Kirschner.
Here. We have reading of the minutes of the July 22nd, 2019 meeting. Any additions or corrections?
I move that we accept them as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second for no additions or corrections. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Reading of the minutes is passed. New business with Connersville FFA tree identification.
And we talked a little bit at last meeting about Riley Loper, who is interested in pursuing a tree ID program, and I met with her and two other girls from the FFA, and it's a pretty simple thing. They want to come in next spring and walk the park, and their idea was to do plaques on posts similar to what we have now, just to ID what type of tree it was, and the printout you have were there two different ideas for types of signs. So I kind of like the one with the leaf, just so you could kind of tell what you were looking at. Well, here, we can pass this one down. So they'll be looking into that more in the spring, but it's something that the FFA is going to fund, and it just sounds like a good idea. I did talk to Vane this afternoon, and he suggested that instead of doing the post, that we do some type of chain around the tree with a plaque, just for the sake of mowing. It might be a little bit simpler, which I thought that was a good idea. I'd never thought of that, so I can talk to the girls about that and see what they think. I don't know if that changes their budget or not.
How would that impact though as the tree grew?
And that's a good point.
Yeah,
It might
because,
be take
No,
so
no.
long.
but it would depend upon the size of the tree, but
Right.
you're,
No, I was thinking the same thing, because eventually it's going to get
Yeah,
big.
eventually it will.
and
But you
in
could at
damage to the, and if it got to the point that it would cause a problem, then it would get stripped off the bark, and then
True.
that would not be that would be,
Yeah. He was trying to avoid putting a nail in the tree because he knew that would
no.
not be a good idea. So
But the other thing you're going to get into is if you have a chain around a tree, people are going to hang things on it,
that's true.
okay? And they've got that ability there.
Or
to
take
be
it
able to hang
down
this,
and-
right,
yeah.
move it, all these
Hurt
different
people.
things,
So
so.
the little posts sound
Maybe
good.
we'll go with the posts.
Posts sound, little
Posts
posts
sound good.
Posts sound better and better. That's really a
Do
good
we-
project for the FFA though, that's,
Yeah, it's a really good group of students. Do we have to have a motion to approve something like that?
I don't think we would need one until next spring.
until they actually start to do
Until
it.
they start. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, next we have Charmin Gabbard for the End Stigma Bench.
You have a picture?
I do. Oh,
We do.
okay, so, we started this project, well, basically within the community back in May. And so throughout this project, we have like tried to bring awareness to the words that we use in regards to substance use. And we would like to end the project with donating a bench to the park. The bench itself would just say End Stigma. It's 900 pounds. I've talked to Taggart's over sandblasting, and so they would be doing the bench and writing the words End Stigma in there. Also, we would like to have the bench set on a platform, and it wouldn't be these colors, but it would be like a purple tint to the rock that's placed there. And we would like to place hands of people that are in recovery or those that have lost someone to substance use disorder. And inside of the platform, we would like to place a solar purple eternal light. And Jack Reed is who I've talked about to do the work for the base. So the base would be started the day of, and then later the bench would be placed. And we've raised all the money through donations to purchase this, if you guys will let us place it there. And this is the location that we would like. It's like, as you drive into the park and you turn right by the gazebo, there's nothing in there but those trees. And so I think it's a place where a lot of people just go through. They use the gazebo a lot. It would just be another area where people could sit and just connect with, well, I would like to thank God.
So you said a 900-pound bench, so the bench is made out of concrete?
It is.
Okay.
Um,
Because that
I-
was gonna be my question, like upkeep for it.
So when we first started talking about it, and I went and talked to Taggart, he said 900 pounds, and that, you know, it's not impossible for someone to destroy it, but the wear and tear would be
Less likely,
long.
yeah.
Yes, and for someone to steal it would, it's not impossible, but it's 900 pounds. Yeah.
My other question I was thinking about, on the hands, are you going to seal it? Because the paint would start fading after a while on the hands, so do you have a plan to
Jack Reed is,
like seal coat it with something? Is that his plan?
It would be a smooth finish in the end. So the idea would be a purplish tint to the concrete, and he said something, I don't know what that would be, but it would be as smooth as the bench.
And sealed.
I have a cement seal, yes.
Yeah.
If someone graffitis it, can it be removed?
It would be the same as any, I think, a rock or anything else. It wouldn't hurt the surface, so then we would just have to.
Clean.
Just as long as you guys know that that's a risk you would be opening yourself up to.
It'd be just basically like a
Yeah.
cemetery stone.
Yeah.
That's how long the life is gonna be, a very long time. I think we'll all be gone by the time it might need anything, just saying.
People like to graffiti.
Right.
And write their names on everything.
We were talking, like Jack and I were talking, and we figure probably the worst will be a kid wanting to skateboard across it or something like that because of it being a surface.
Yeah, but that location in the middle of that grassy area, they're not really gonna have a run up to get to
No.
it.
True.
So,
I didn't think about that.
Or a bike,
yeah,
possibly.
bike could be about the other, you
Yeah.
know, think of at that point.
I think the location's very good.
Okay. Any more questions? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
and then
second.
Proceed.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to install the end stigma bench and base. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So can I get with you on like a day that will, okay, thank you, Kathy.
When are you thinking?
Thank you all. I'm thinking the end of next month,
Okay.
because next month's National Recovery Day, and the mayor said that he would do a proclamation and declare a city recovery day in Connersville.
Okay, that'd be a good day.
Nice.
That'd be great.
Yep.
Thank
come
you,
by.
guys.
The message is great. Message.
Friday night was really great.
Thank you.
It was awesome.
Thank you.
It's about time we dealt with it as it should be dealt with.
The eternal light is, we all have, we probably know someone that's lost someone, and I hate that. And there's nothing we can do but continue to try to do better for those that still struggle, and for the families that's still impacted, that's left behind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have resolution 2019-03.
I was requesting to move money from the pool employees into other contractual.
Just drop the glasses.
Oh, Charmin?
Yes.
We had gotten very low in other contractual, and so I met with Rosemary to see a good place to pull that money from. I know one thing it will be spent on is I'm going to actually pay Spear this year to close the pool down. And then that way I will see them shut the pool down. I will have a checklist when they're done. And then they had also recommended doing one other type of maintenance before that happens. And that is supposed to run between $1,700 and $2,500. So I met with Rosemary about that, and that's why we were pulling that money over. So
Do you think that having it professionally shut down like that will make it the process easier come springtime to get it up and running again?
yes,
Okay.
I hope so. And I also hope to understand how to do it. I think
Okay.
that's another big benefit. And as many problems as we had with the pool this year, I just want to make sure everything gets done correctly, we get it closed correctly, and I pseudo know what I'm doing. So, and I also asked, if Peyton can come if he's not at school. And, so,
Okay. I need a motion to approve moving the money from pool employees to other contractual services.
Motion that.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. Next, we have superintendent's report.
our revenue for July was $58,628.81, and our expenditures were $83,255.18. Right now for sports, we have girls basketball. It's open 1st through 6th grade. It's open through July 27th, or I'm sorry, September 27th for sign-ups. We had 287 kids get signed up for fall soccer. The pool is closing on Labor Day, so that will be the last day it's open. And then we have our premiere of Fall Discovery, our camp, coming up over fall break. So lots of good stuff coming up.
Have you done any kind of interest survey on Discovery during fall break?
We did during camp, and we had, I think, like 30 parents.
Wow.
We just set out a sign-up sheet, like, would you bring your child? And we had like 30 people sign it. We already had one dad come in and sign his child up already, so that was
Wow.
exciting. He was our first one, so
Wow.
we hope it goes well. It gives people a choice,
And
another
I was going to
choice.
say, it makes sense because,
Mhm.
parents are still working, so.
Be-
We don't get fall
Still-
break.
Still need a place for those
Be
kiddos to
thankful
go.
we're not on a balanced schedule.
Where we have 2 weeks off.
Yeah. Ugh. Childcare nightmares.
Right. Well, then we would have 2 weeks of fall discovery.
Right.
We would be fine now.
Except people with preschoolers.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the, I'm sorry, are you done, Catherine?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I just cut right in. Need a motion to accept the superintendent's report.
I so move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. In old business, we have city-sponsored events.
So I've got you guys my suggestion. I reviewed, I think it was 14 responses from other superintendents of what their rental policies are. I tried to take what made sense for our area, just take some of those ideas and incorporate them into what we do. I tried to think of all the instances that we rent something, tried to cover all our bases. I started with what we had. We already give a discount for the Miller building and the Roberts building. So I didn't know what you guys thought about that. And then I tried to show you what you would using Adrian's request as an example, just where we would be at, what we would be able to offer should we adopt, that nonprofit policy.
It's like you spent a lot of time on it.
Thank you.
I tried to cover all the
No,
bases.
thank you for doing your homework on this, because I think that anytime we make a change in something, particularly when we start charging people that we haven't charged for before, there's some justification probably that needs to be done. Not that we owed them anything, but it's a change in the way of doing things. And I think people assumed that other municipalities allowed people to do things for free, and that's clearly not the case.
The most consistent suggestion that I was given was the one free rental a year. What I did find was a lot of other parks don't have the facilities we have to offer. They might have a shelter, or they don't have the buildings to rent like we do, and we're very lucky in what we have available. So I tried to make it fair. Another thing I stuck to that I got that was very consistent was there were no discounts on weekends. There were no free rentals on weekends. It was, during the week.
No, that's when we make our money, on the weekends.
Yeah, and when we do rent something for free, we lose money from somebody that would normally pay. So I tried to make it fair. I think it's pretty generous. I mean, I don't think most places rent, but maybe once or twice a year, for a big event. So one thing we were missing, I think, was the whole building rental for the Miller Building. We do get that sometimes. And then the conference rooms would always be open to the city. So should somebody need a meeting space, we would always offer those for free. So to the city departments.
I think it's well thought out. I think it's a good setup. And you can always, once you put this in place, you can always tweak it a little bit down the road.
Right.
I mean,
We'll
if
see
you
how it
find certain
works, yeah.
things. So no, I really like it. I think it's
And we have
good for
something
the
to go
system.
by.
Yes.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we really needed a policy
Yes.
for it.
it lets people know up front what the situation is. If you decide to use this facility, this is what it's going to cost, or
Right.
not cost, as the case may be.
Right. And then people can plan accordingly.
Mhm.
And we don't get all of the requests because it's right here, so they know. Do you know what we have already approved for the rest of this year?
It hasn't changed since the last time.
Okay.
We kind of.
So the
Yeah,
only
we
only
have
thing
much
that
so
this would
good.
impact would be the Armed Forces Parade then.
Right, that's the one we're gonna have to make a decision on. And I don't know how quickly Adrian needed a response. I could reach out to him again if he needs to come back.
From-
Or if you just want me to send this proposal, like this is what we can offer, or.
On the nonprofit rental policy, when would you like for this to take effect? Starting today? Not counting what we've already approved? So
That's okay with me.
Any new,
Since we don't have anything outstanding, it might be a good time.
So going forward, anyone would have to do that.
this?
I mean, it would be good for the rest of this year, so you might get somebody who gets a free rental in the next few months and then another free rental, but that's fine. I mean, that doesn't bother me, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve this policy for a non-profit rentals.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the nonprofit rental policy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Policy approved. It will take effect immediately. So as of August 26th. And on the Armed Forces Parade, so overall, under this policy, we're looking at a grand total, 2,250, which I think is very fair.
I think it took a good chunk off of there.
Yeah, it's a
for
nice
them.
it's a nice discount, but I think, you know, a couple $1,000s is a pretty reasonable amount to fundraise or to sponsor.
Yeah,
So we could go ahead and, approve the proposal. That way Adrian wouldn't have to come back to the next meeting.
And then it'd be up
He
to
can
them
just
if
accept
they
it,
wanted
yes.
it.
If everybody's okay with that.
understanding that they needed to raise somehow the $2,250,
Right,
which isn't,
that's not bad.
no, no,
Not bad.
not for what you're getting.
Or they can decide to cut back or, you know.
Right, so if he makes any changes, then he could come to our September meeting with other changes if he doesn't want to accept this one.
Okay.
It'll be fine. Okay.
Sounds good.
Do I have a motion to approve the Armed Forces Parade proposal?
All motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. Next, we have the amphitheater railing quote.
And this came from Chase McCombs at McCombs Fabrication. This is following up on Ruby's request from last month for him to install a rail just down the center aisle of the amphitheater. I have some money in a fund for the amphitheater, so it would bring this down $1,300 or $1,400. I need to follow up with Ruby and see where she's at. I told her the price, and she was gonna go from there. And then I talked to Brad Coulter, who is our ADA representative, and he was going to a conference last week or this week, and he was going to see several people who he knows who deal with compliancy and get their opinion as well. But his initial thought was he didn't think it would be a problem, so he thought we would be okay. He said that incremental changes are usually easily accepted. So as long as we're not doing some mass renovation, he didn't think installing a railing would be a big issue. And in addition, we do have handicap seating at the top, so that's also in our favor. So I need to hear back from Brad, and I need to hear back from Ruby and see.
I would also check with the city attorney. And I'm just going from my experience with the school corporation, because we had, okay, we'll put a railing in the bowl, it will not be a problem, and it turned out to be a nightmare, because we couldn't do it and stay compliant. And rather than start this and then somebody come in and complain and we have to tear it all up, I think we really, I'm in favor of it, don't get me wrong, but I just want to make sure that all our i's are dotted and our t's are crossed, because to start this and then to have to come in and undo it because it doesn't meet the codes. And going with Brad is good, but I think also David, the city attorney, could double check on some of that kind of stuff too. Because it might show up when we apply for the permits. So just err on the side of caution.
And it's gonna be intermittent going down, so there's gonna be spaces.
Right.
Yeah, so like you could walk through.
one side.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to walk all the way up and then.
Okay.
I think it's a terrific idea to do, and it's certainly needed, but when dealing with governmental agencies, it's best to make sure that we are compliant at the time.
Any more discussion on the railing quote? Moving on to the work list.
I changed it again on you. I think I finally have my system down. It's taken me a little while. It's the spreadsheet. It's underneath that. I also gave you my Board of Works report. I just felt like if you want to read it, that's great. It kind of goes along with the work list in some ways. But I think I have a system now. I have all our parks on there. Roberts, I mean, it has lots of different facilities, so that's broken into more facilities. But it kind of shows you what we have on the list. It doesn't show routine things like mowing and snow and, you know, the everyday things that we do. And then at the bottom, I think it's several pages, but at the bottom I'm starting to list what we've completed. So since I've been here, I'm going to put what's gotten done this year, and then we'll just have an ongoing list. So at the end of 2020, we can say we completed 105 projects, or whatever that number is. And again, that's more than a minor project. I don't put every little thing on there, but and sometimes the day is filled with 25 minor things, but so that's kind of what I'm working on, and then that way you can tell. I don't have dates assigned to everything yet, but that's the bones of where I'm going with the work list. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, that's a good format.
This is great.
It's taken me a while to get to a point where I have something that makes sense to me and helps me keep a handle on where we are. And I did pull the stuff that was in the one that was made in Word. I did pull those things into there. Most of them anyway. There were some things that we had already done, or
Yeah, this is a really good way to keep us organized and you organized,
and when I get the dates assigned, we can move stuff around. You know, if you want to see it by when it's due or when we think it'll get done, or anything like that.
Yes, I'm a fan of spreadsheets because of the sorting functions. And filter.
Yes.
I like it. And how did you get that fountain fixed? What kind of miracle did you perform on that?
Have you seen those two fish that are like projectile spitting water today? I don't know what's going on with those two fish, but they're ridiculous.
They're watering flowers.
They're working too well right now. Well, the guy that came in from New Pal, he suggested that we add chemicals once a month for once a week for 6 weeks. So this is week 6. Thursday, we do it every Thursday. So this is our last week. His theory was it was just really gunked up in there. And the next step will be to add the chlorinator inside the pump box. And so hopefully
How often will that have to be refilled?
those fish will just keep going. Well, the chlorinator will just regulate the chlorine, and then we'll just test the pH.
Okay.
And the pH is supposed to be at 4.5, and even the gunk on it is coming off. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's getting less yellow every day. They scrubbed a lot of it off last week, so it's very exciting.
But
It really is, yeah.
Small wins. It's like
It is. It is.
I heard more about that fountain my first couple weeks.
it's been there forever, and it should be pretty.
Right? When will you shut it down, though?
I don't know. Is that
October, November?
He usually shuts down
November?
about the end of October, about November 1st.
Something I should know and I don't.
I think it's
Like, I don't know, I haven't been here yet.
I know.
Well, I want to say it shuts down before Thanksgiving. But I want
Yeah.
to say like the end of October,
That would probably make sense.
Yeah. end of October to the middle of November, because it's always closed by Thanksgiving, always closed by basketball season, because you see the tarp over it.
Yeah. And I'll probably give that guy a call back just over the phone and say, hey, can you just walk me through a proper shutdown real fast just to make
Right.
sure that we don't goof anything up if we can avoid it. So,
It's usually, I think, closed from November through April.
yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, next we have miscellaneous business.
I'll just let you guys know I'm working on a few things. One is movies in the park. Every time I turn around, there's another road bump, but you know, the screen's broke, the projector's broke. You have to pay $300 for a license every time you show a movie. It's
Right.
just, it has been one thing after another, but my goal was to do Friday nights in September and have movies in the park, and we're getting really close to September, and I don't quite have everything where I'd like it to be, so
There's
working on
another one that you can check with. It doesn't have doesn't have Disney movies or anything like that, but it has movies that's more like a year thing, $375 for a year.
Well, that's how like the schools is. But I think the deal with it's something when you take it outside and anybody can walk up and see it. For some reason, the licensing is different. Now, someone gave me a really good suggestion today was to partner with another entity that already has a license, and so I contacted them, and they're gonna check into that and see if it's a possibility, and then maybe we could save some money if we could piggyback off their license, or just pay a little bit more to enhance their license. So I really hope that will happen, but
Doesn't Robinsons have one out at the campground?
I don't know.
That might be somebody to call, because
Yeah.
they have a big video screen out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they show movies,
I don't know.
but no, I know they have a big video screen out there.
We're working on that. Another thing between the fountain and concerts, I think were the two things I got hit with the most. Also trying to work on a concert series. I know everybody wants what Rushville has. I've talked with the company that Rushville uses, and I've got an idea of what we need to do, and the best advice he gave was to start small. So if we can do one concert at Roberts Park and one concert out at River's Edge next year, I think that would be a success. So that's
because
getting
theirs
rolling.
has just continued to grow.
Yes,
each
they
year.
didn't start
They
with a
started
6
small.
series. They didn't start there. So
Because they've been running 6 or 7 years now.
has it?
I'm
Sure,
sure.
it's been a while.
I'm sure.
So again, it's getting all the equipment and
And we have some really good local bands
yeah,
that we can start with anyway,
Mhm.
which is what they did.
we can.
They've just added their sponsors each year.
Mhm.
And so then they've added to their stage, and then they have
The more sponsors you get, the more
trailers, and-
concerts you can have. So,
Right.
but just to let you guys know what's going on behind the scenes, working on that, and I would really like to get a little toddler time going once a month. They do it out at the Cope Center. I just think it's good to engage that early ed, give moms or dads a place to bring your child who's not in school yet. So we're working on getting that started too. So, and it would just be like you just come if you want. It wouldn't be a registration, just a couple bucks. So, I think that's it. Lots of stuff going on.
Good job.
Okay, next we have claims including payroll.
Oh, this looks pretty self-explanatory.
Since our camp counselors fund is low and you're doing the fall discovery, how will that be impacted?
Which number is that, Jen?
1781, 17 on the front. Because it's at 7% left.
Oh,
Is
there
that
it is,
enough?
sorry.
Is that
I
enough
need
for
my
one
little
week?
ruler.
It could be. How many counselors will you have for the week? Will it be?
We'll have we'll have Carrie back, and then we'll have 3 counselors who'll work the days. I think we'll be fine because they'll pay every day that they come, so it'll still be $15 each day. So I think we'll be good on that, and we still have all the supplies.
We're not looking to this to make money, we're just looking to
Right.
break even.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be, I think it's something that we can get started and see how it goes. And then Chartwell's is also going to provide food again. Now, something different about Fall Discovery, and I've been talking with Rachel O'Brien, is we need to have an open site for Chartwell's to be able to serve, and they're not able to park the bus during fall break, but we still need an open site. So I think we're just going to have a designated table, and then a Chartwell's employee will be responsible should any kids show up to eat that day. Because my problem was I said I can't have camp counselors responsible for kids who don't have paperwork and that kind of thing. So I think that'll work out. I think that meets the issue. So
With Chartwell's, anybody under 18 can get that.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So it should not be an issue. And that should help the amount of people that are getting free lunch during fall break, because typically that number is very, very low.
yeah, it might help bring it to people's attention, maybe that
Well,
the
and
food's
also
available.
the kids that are there, it won't be, they'll already have it right there. They won't have to go to a location, and that's been a lot of the issues with Chartwell's when they've had the fall break lunch. They've had it at an elementary school, and it's not convenient, so there'll be a group of kids right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that should work out well.
Do I have a motion to accept claims including payroll?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. And then next we have public forum. Okay. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. Motion passed. Adjourned.